After the assault began in the very early hours of the morning in Washington, D.C., Donald Trump published this message on Truth Social.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries.
The exchanges are not confined to Iran and Israel. The Iranians have hit back at countries which host US military bases: Kuwait, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and here in Bahrain. In Iraq, the base of a pro-Iranian group was also hit, suggesting the Israelis and Americans are attempting to neutralize possible attacks from Iranian proxies in neighboring countries. Mr. Trump's message to the Iranian military: defect from the regime or face the consequences, and to civilians opposed to their government: this is your opportunity to bring an end to the 47-year-old Islamic Republic. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said now was the time to destroy Iran's nuclear weapons capability.
In recent months, the tyrants in Iran have been plotting to rebuild their nuclear and missile capabilities and bury them underground, where we cannot hit them. If we do not stop them now, they will be immune, and to that end, their representatives in the negotiations are trying to buy time in fruitless and false negotiations with our American friends. But the tyrants in Iran have made a bitter mistake, because the United States does not buy their lies.
Explosions just to the north of where we are in Jerusalem. It's been the case all morning, really. We think most of those explosions are Israel's missile defense system shooting down Iranian ballistic missiles right above our hotel where we were. One was shot down, a very loud bang. So it does appear to have been pretty extensive so far. I guess the question is, given that Mr. Netanyahu and Mr. Trump have both signalled that this will not be a limited operation, how capable and how willing is Iran to respond further?
It was Shabbat, of course, and so presumably, it being a Saturday morning, when this bombardment began, the streets were relatively quiet. Have Israelis largely been staying inside?
Yeah, certainly. We're actually in East Jerusalem, the Palestinian part of the city, and it's Ramadan at the moment. You can hear the call to the prayer in the background at the moment. So this part of the city actually would be pretty busy.
Yep.
During Ramadan, but I think most Israelis are in their shelters or certainly pretty close to them, because these sirens, they're going off, what, every 10, 15, 20 minutes. You're getting alerts on your phone urging people to get inside and get safe.
What calculation do you think the Israeli government has made in launching these strikes?
Well, I think, as we heard from Mr. Netanyahu, he believes that Iran poses an existential threat, and he has believed this for a long time, you know, and we had the campaign last year, the 12-day war between Israel, Iran, and the United States, and, you know, at the time, you'll remember that the Americans said they had obliterated Iran's nuclear program. Well, what, 6-7 months on, Mr. Netanyahu's basically saying no, that wasn't the case, and they need to keep pushing because they believe Iran poses a constant threat. And as we heard from Mr. Netanyahu and Mr. Trump, what they're looking for is regime change. Now, that's not going to come from airstrikes. To do that militarily, you would have to have boots on the ground. I don't think that's going to happen either, but what they're wanting is that Iranians see this as an opportunity to rise up and topple their government.
John Donaldson in East Jerusalem, thank you. Let's go to Barbara Pletasher, who's in Doha in Qatar, which has itself come under attack, Barbara, and there's quite a lot of reaction from countries around the Gulf, isn't there, as to what's happening?
Yes, because they are being attacked as well. So the Iranians had been threatening to strike against U.S. military bases if they were attacked, and these bases are in the Arab countries in this region, 13 of them with some 30 to 40,000 troops normally deployed to them. The biggest one is here in Qatar, in the Al Udeid air base, which the Iranians had targeted in June during the 12-day war, but in a very careful way. They had telegraphed it ahead of time. It was mostly a symbolic strike, really, and they this time had been saying nothing was going to be symbolic, and they would widen their reach, and that is what they have done. So here in Qatar we have been hearing round after round of explosions, which the Qataris are saying is the sound of their missile defense, that they are blowing these missiles out of the air. We are also hearing that the same thing is happening in the United Arab Emirates, in Qatar, in Bahrain, and to some extent in Iraq, in Erbil, where the U.S. has a base there. In Bahrain, it seems that one of the missiles, or some of the missiles, found their mark. The Bahrainis are reporting that the base there, which is a Navy base, the head of the Fifth Fleet, has been hit, although it's not clear what the damage is. But this seems to be ongoing throughout the day so far.
We had the Omani foreign minister putting on social media that he was dismayed by the action because he believed that talks were progressing. Indeed, he's flown to Washington, D.C. to tell the Americans that. What do you think will be the reaction of, for example, the Gulf Cooperation?
For a new team in the sport, and how long before you could be challenging at the front end?
Well, it's, first and foremost, it's great. It's great, to have the opportunity to go up against these iconic teams. We have huge respect for the competition, and it does take time. It's a really, really difficult sport, Formula One. It kind of can look very simple. It's just a couple of cars going round and round, but trust me, behind that is just the most complex sport I've ever come across. It's very difficult for us to set targets in terms of championship position in year one or anything like that. We just have to focus on we focus on our game. We focus on what we can control. We execute as well as we possibly can, and we know that if we do that, then we will move forward on the grid. That's how the game works. Everybody in the team is super competitive. We're all eager to compete, but equally, we're very grounded. We know how difficult it is. We've got no illusions about the task ahead, but we've got a real enthusiasm, and we want to make Cadillac Formula One team a team that everyone in Formula One wants to join, and people are proud to be part of, and we want to compete against all these other iconic names.
And let me ask you finally, Graham, what will your emotions be like when we get to the first race in Melbourne? The red lights go out and we're away and we're racing.
It's a very good question, Lee, because I've been through the loop before, and last time round I didn't take any time at all to even register the emotion. Just so involved in it, and I hope that everybody in the team does take a moment this time, because what everybody's achieved in creating this Cadillac Formula One team from nothing. We had nothing at all, didn't even have a screwdriver or a sheet of paper. I think everyone should take a brief moment, but it will be brief, because turn one will be hurtling toward drivers at a rapid rate, and then it's game on, and then we're in the same as everyone else. Then we're in the pursuit of performance, and it just never stops. Then it's relentless.
Yeah, it will be a relentless season, but we wish you all the very best for it, Graham, and thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you, I really appreciate that.
That is the Cadillac team principal, Graham Loudon. We'll have coverage of that opening race of the new Formula One season from Melbourne next Saturday on Sports World. Borussia Dortmund are leading Bayern Munich by 1-0. Nico Schlotterbeck has scored after 26 minutes. That's the late game in Germany. It's goalless between Leeds and Manchester City in the late game in the Premier League. We've had 21 goals, though, in the 4 games so far. and relegation threatened Burnley, mounted a stirring comeback in overtime. It was a 3-0 deficit. Brentford scored what turned out to be a winning goal then in added time. Burnley denied by VAR.